All right, here we go. Today we're jumping into the deep end of social media's craziest nutrition advice.
Yep, we are talking TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. And some of it is good, and some of it might be a bit crazy. Either way, you're gonna get our real unfiltered reactions with no sugar coating.
Okay, let's hit play and find out if these viral tips are health gold or just another internet fail.
Okay, here we go. Number one.
Give me one of these core powers. High protein milkshake, baby. How is it not refrigerated? I thought milk supposed to be in the fridge. Lactose enzyme, okay, that's made in the lab. Cellulose gum, stevia elise, sucralose. Y'all better stay away from these boys. Every American almost lactose intolerant. You do not supposed to consume no dairy. Go ask your doctor. And by doctor, guess what he gonna say? Oh, the pyramid, you can have lactose. That's why when you get bubble guts and you have ice cream and milk, you go poo-poo, ruins your stomach. Stay away from this type of stuff.
Stay away. What do you say?
Okay. All right. Now, he's kind of right about milk. Okay. Like a ton of adults have lactose intolerance, especially if you're not if you're not some super white person from Northern Europe where your ancestors have been
Like
drinking
me,
milk for
super white,
10,000 years.
Viking.
Right. So like some super pale Northeastern European white people, they've been drinking milk as adults for 10,000 years. They've got tons of lactase persistence in adulthood. They can drink milk. It's no problem. A lot of other people have horrible lactose intolerance. And when they drink milk, they don't have enough lactase to break down the lactose. The dose makes the poison. So everybody can drink a thimbleful of milk and break down that lactase. But if you drink a gallon of milk and you only have so much lactase enzyme in your GI tract, what happens is you can't break down the lactase. You ferment it. Your bacteria in your colon ferment the hell out of it, and you get gas and bloating and loose stools, and it's just a GI nightmare. So everything he said is totally true of drinking milk for a lot of people. But he needs to leave Fairlife Core Power alone.
That's your favorite.
It's my favorite. I feel
Are you
bad
sponsored by Fairlife by any chance?
It's actually owned by Coca-Cola, and I feel really bad because that's probably globally the biggest. Okay, soda's terrible. Coca-Cola is they're making a lot of people overweight. But so I'm not sponsored by them. But this Fairlife milk is ultra filtered, so there's almost no more lactose in it. And then there's a little bit of a lactase enzyme in there also to get rid of any trace amounts. The overall product has less than a gram of lactose per bottle. That's nothing. Like, this is medically considered appropriate for someone with a significant lactose intolerance. So he needs to leave this alone. And then, I thought milk needs to be in the fridge. The fact that this is ultra pasteurized and shelf stable, and you can just buy a case of it from Amazon and not refrigerate it if it's unopened, is amazing. That's such a huge win. That's crazy. I drink the hell out of these. I've got them in my pantry. I've got them in my office. I've got them everywhere. I have at least one of these a day. It's
this is why our team put this video in here, because they know you're having these all the time.
I'm triggered.
You got triggered.
I'm gonna be honest. This is BS. This is but I mean, he's right about milk and lactose, sure, but not this crap. This stuff is awesome. Leave my core power alone.
All right, let's move on.
Fake health foods, oatmeal. You think this is the best breakfast ever? This is not the breakfast of champions. Oats are full of phytic acid, a compound that chelates, that bites onto minerals like magnesium, zinc, calcium, iron, and many others in your body, and prevents you from absorbing them. Basically, your morning oatmeal is robbing you of nutrients, not a health food, horrible breakfast.
Okay, that's a strong statement. This guy, of course, makes strong statements a million times a day, so nothing unusual there. What do you say? Oatmeal, is it messing up your health for the whole day?
A bunch of stuff there. It's true that raw grains and legumes and nuts and seeds and a lot of raw things have phytates in them that are anti-nutrients. Cooking it greatly reduces the amount of phytate activity. So I don't recommend eating raw oats. But once you cook
nobody
them,
does that.
They're basically fine. Now the thing about oatmeal, like oats are one of the higher protein percent grains at 13 or 14% protein by calories. It still sucks. Like all grains suck for protein percent. So a grain is a side dish to a protein. Well, like, do you know who Athlean X is? The dude on YouTube who's just perma ripped and jacked. He's the most ripped and jacked dude.
He can never eat oatmeal, right? That would never work.
You know what he eats every single freaking morning for breakfast? He has a bowl of steel cut oats, but that's just half of it. The other half is literally just pure egg whites. He buys cartons of egg whites, pours it into a big bowl, and just microwaves it and eats it as a congealed mass. He puts salsa on it because it's low calorie, low energy density. So he has just a microwaved massive bowl of egg whites with salsa, and then a bowl of steel cut oats. And he's getting this awesome combination of the soluble fiber from the oatmeal and the basically the fiber, the weight and volume, and then the massive amount of protein, also low energy density from the egg whites. And like this is the breakfast that makes him the most perma ripped and jacked health influencer I know on the planet. And I eat steel cut oats all the time. But just like the Athlean X guy does, I don't even know his name. Sorry, Athlean X. Is that your name? Don't come after me. But I'm eating steel cut oats as a side dish to something like a bowl of Greek yogurt, and I'll eat them both. I cook steel cut oats in the microwave. I have just a giant glass bowl, and I put a 4-to-1 ratio of water to a half cup steel cut oats. 2 cups of water, microwave it for like 20 minutes. You have to cook the absolute hell out of it. There's no phytates left in there. There's no anti-nutrient action at all. And what's funny is oatmeal is very high in some of the things that carnivore. So if you're on a pure carnivore diet, we have some actual research now that shows which nutritional deficiencies are the highest on carnivore. Thiamine, B1, folate, and magnesium are kind of the top of the list. And oatmeal has a ton of B vitamins in it. It's got a ton of thiamine in it. It's got a ton of magnesium. It's got there are nutrients in oatmeal that's actually complementary to a carnivore diet. So as long as you cook the heck out of it, it's totally fine and okay to eat. But I also agree that if you just eat that alone for breakfast, it's not good because the protein's way too low. And I also agree that you shouldn't eat it raw. And so like a couple things, there's a little bit of truth there, but it's just getting massively sensationalized.
Yeah. So not something to worry about, basically.
Cook it and you're fine. Yeah.
Cook it and you're fine. Next one.
Here's what you need to know about a calorie deficit and how to get in one if your goal is to lose weight for summer 2024. Calorie deficit is this word everyone hears on the internet, but basically it's the scientific way to describe when you are consuming less calories, aka energies, than what it takes to maintain your weight. Now, what's important about a calorie deficit is it doesn't necessarily mean you're eating less food, you're eating less total calories. Basically, every single day, your body burns a certain amount of calories, known as your maintenance calories, to maintain your weight. This is everything that goes into your maintenance calories. I can do another video on it. But basically, you need to eat less than that total amount of calories. But what's important to know is you don't want to consume way less than what it takes to maintain your weight. The goal is a slight deficit. I have my clients set their calories 300 to 500 below maintenance, and that is the range they're trying to hit. Knowing your targets is great, but as a registered dietitian, I will tell you the magic of fat loss gets unlocked when you understand what you should be eating on your plate. What I suggest you do if you're trying to get into a deficit for the first time is begin prioritizing more protein, like this amazing Greek yogurt little peanut butter situation I'm about to have with apples. And at meals, try to add in more color, a pop of color every single meal. I'm having some apples here. This is a snack, but you guys get the picture. Protein and fiber keep you full for longer, making eating in a deficit a hell of a lot easier.
All right, mixed bag perhaps. What do you say? Color? Can you diet with more color?
Well, okay, that's a bit of a fail because I don't think there's anything more colorful than Skittles, Fruit Loops are pretty close. And so M&Ms are hella colorful. I see where she was going there. The spirit of what was said here is totally great. I love it. The protein part, the Greek yogurt.
How about the peanut butter?
I think it's fine to put a little bit of peanut butter in your Greek yogurt to flavor it. I mean, I think that's great. If you're a elite bikini model, you're going to use PB Fit powdered peanut butter or defatted peanut flour or something. But yeah, a little peanut butter in your Greek yogurt sounds amazing. That sounds way cool. Adding an apple just to get some soluble fiber and a little satiety from a different direction other than the protein sounds really good. I mean, like, honestly, there wasn't a lot here that I didn't like. That sounded good. And then like trying to keep your calorie deficit fairly small, 300 to 500. So you're not doing anything crazy. You're just slowly losing, playing the long game. Everything here sounded pretty reasonable. I'm not like complaining much.
Do you need to track your calories, or should you just ignore it?
And that's kind of the problem with calorie tracking. Let's say I told you, okay, I've calculated how much I think you burn, and I think you should eat, 1 calorie a day. Well, you're not going to stop at 1 calorie because you're still hungry. So whatever number you give someone, if they're still hungry, they're not stopping there. So just right off the top, it's problematic. And then what if you thought you knew how many calories I spend a day, but then one day I'm like, I have to paint my whole house or weed my whole yard or move or do some crazy energy expenditure thing, and I double or triple my physical activity and I need way more calories, and now my 300 to 500 calorie deficit is like 3,000 calorie deficit, and that's going to be a total fail because I'm still hungry. And so it's not the way to go.
So don't obsess over your calories. Eat better.
The number, you just don't, it's not that helpful. But she did talk about focusing on high satiety foods.
She did.
Love that. I think that was great. I've eaten this same snack before: Greek yogurt, peanut butter, apple. That's actually, I eat those all the time. That's pretty legit.
Minus the peanut butter, and it's one of my most common dishes, actually. So yeah, can't complain too much.
Yep. And I got to admit, I have that PB Fit or some sort of powdered peanut butter that I'll frequently just put in Greek yogurt. It's spectacular.
Yeah, I never tried that. Maybe I should. Let's move on.
Oh, you should.
If you've been following the drama over the last 48 hours, and no, I don't mean this drama, then you know there's been a little bit of a skirmish with respect to models of obesity, with some people making profound and grandiose claims that things like protein energy ratio or satiety per calorie can explain all observable phenomena in the diet space. Frankly, that's directly falsifiable by mountains of literature, including the fact that certain zero-calorie artificial sweeteners can produce insulin resistance in particular contexts.
I guess we're going to have to dive into components here. What do you say so far?
Who's this guy? No, right. This is Nick. He screenshotted me saying that satiety per calorie explained absolutely everything in all of nutrition, which, to be honest, was a little bit grandiose. And there's plenty of things that are not explained, but it's more explanatory than just low carb. I will die on the hill of satiety per calorie is more explanatory than just low carb. Does it explain every single thing ever seen in the history of nutrition ever? No, it doesn't. Okay, all right, I get that. Now sucralose, okay, I'm just not as afraid of artificial sweeteners as I should be, right? I work in the hospital, and day after day I go in the ICU and I see people who are put there because of artificial sweeteners. It's the sucralose, like you got insulin resistance and diabetes and complications from sucralose. No, nobody has actual clinical problems like from sucralose. So trying to blame stuff on artificial sweeteners really feels like a bit of a stretch. How did we go from Ted says satiety per calorie explains everything in nutrition to artificial sweeteners give you insulin resistance? I missed something there.
I mean, artificial sweeteners, there are lots of studies showing that people lose weight and improve their metabolic health with switching to artificial sweeteners.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have studies randomizing overweight and obese people to diet soda versus water, and fat loss is actually higher on diet soda than water, probably because it satisfies a sweet taste that humans naturally have for no calories. So I like artificial sweeteners. I eat the heck out of them. I'm not really afraid of them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scaremongering about artificial sweeteners, and maybe I've been guilty about that myself in the past. But I think we need to compare it to what they replace, which is sugar, which we know that people get too much energy. Most people get too much sugar. Most people do. So switching that for artificial sweeteners seems to be, at the very least, an improvement for pretty much everybody, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Like the magnitude of the improvement you're going to get is probably bigger than the magnitude of any problems you're going to imagine you might have from some sort of weird chemophobia. I mean, are there better and worse artificial sweeteners? Probably. I know Nick is a fan of allulose because I've seen him talk about that before, and I agree with him completely. Allulose is a very cool artificial sweetener. But I'm not going to be so polarized that like this artificial sweetener is amazing and this one's pure poison and you have to only eat this or go out of your way to eat that. Skip
that seems a little bit over the top and perhaps even a bit objectionable if you are paid by people who produce the one you said is the only safe one. I mean, there are so many people in the diet space that they're sponsored or they have some specific product line, and then they spread all these kind of scaremongering about everything else is so dangerous. You can only buy this thing, and by the way, I sell it, or I'm an affiliate. I think that's a bit of objection. I mean, to me, that makes me annoyed. What do you say?
Right. Yeah, just click the link in my bio and buy my sucralose gummies or whatever. Yes.
I think Nick is an example, but let's see what else he says here.
As shown here. So I just dropped a video explaining how sucralose can promote insulin resistance in teenagers and in adults, even at lower doses. So if you want to learn more about that and evaluate for yourself if you think things like satiety per calorie explain all of the observable phenomena in the diet space, check out that video and leave your comments below.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by any food product or food company. We're not selling allulose. We're not selling nut butters either. So we are just trying to give the best advice that we can, whatever it is.
Yep. Until, Fairlife calls me up and gives me a free lifetime supply of core power shakes. I'm not sponsored by anybody.
We're giving free recommendations to Fairlife without even being paid. That's how nice we are.
Absolutely. They owe me a lot. I don't get a dime from anybody.
Yeah, same. Let's move on.
I will die on the hill that considering satiety is a much better approach than calorie counting for truly whatever your goal is with food. I struggled with binge eating for over 6 years and I counted calories for longer than I can tell you. Spoiler alert, it never worked. Calories simply do not tell the whole story. And while there is an ideal caloric intake amount for every individual body, what a calorie is made of does matter. What a calorie is made of determines how your blood sugar responds to the food. It determines the period of time it will take until you get hungry again. It will impact your decision making and your mood. The list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah. I guess you agree.
I'm like a standing ovation so far. This is totally awesome. Love it. This is brilliant.
Yeah, also agree with everything. Let's see what else she says.
Now back to satiety. Satiety is simply being satisfied in accordance with your appetite and your desire. As an intuitive eating coach, I don't actually track what I eat, and I haven't seen success with clients who do so. That said, because satiety...
So tracking what you eat is a no-no?
Well, so tracking calories is a no-no. Like for example, this girl who's awesome and an intuitive eating coach, she doesn't have to track calories because she intentionally chooses the foods that have the highest satiety per calorie, and then she doesn't have to worry about calories. She just eats the satiety. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love that. Totally agree. What the Hava app does, it tracks calories, but nobody even looks at that. I never look at the calories. I don't know how many calories are in anything. Like I'm not paying attention to that.
Yeah, same thing.
I'm eating to satiety.
Just basically ignore that number.
This app is for people who haven't had binge eating disorder for years and aren't an intuitive eating coach like this girl. This girl doesn't need the Hava app because she knows what foods are already high and low. So, but
maybe our clients could use it to find the right foods.
it teaches people what she's learned the hard way over years and years and years. And it's like, oh, these foods are high satiety per calorie. These foods are low. If you aim a little higher, you just eat to satiety and you don't care about the calories. And I totally agree that nobody has to track forever. And the main purpose is to learn what these foods are. And so I can actually support what she's saying here about you don't have to track calories to be successful. And her clients who track calories specifically aren't really benefiting much from it. Because let's say I told you, okay, you can only have 1,500 calories. Well, you got 1,500 calories at breakfast. You're still hungry. You're still going to eat. It means nothing. It's totally not helpful. So I actually like what she's saying, even though we're making an app that tracks crap. It's what it's really doing. It's teaching people, hey, this is what these foods are doing to you. And theoretically, it could teach people to do it so well that they don't need the app anymore at all. We're teaching people how to fish.
Which would be fantastic.
We're not giving them fish.
That would make us happy, right? I would be happy for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. You learn all this stuff and then you don't even need it. That's totally fine. That's absolutely great. I don't want people to think, oh, you have to track your calories and your satiety scores every day for the rest of your life, and that's the only way to be successful. That's just not true. But is it the fastest and coolest and best way to get up to speed with the stuff that this girl knows from doing this full time for years and years and years? Yeah, maybe so.
Let's see what else she says.
Had such a massive impact on me overcoming binge eating. I do pay close attention to what foods are satiating to me and build my meals around those foods. For instance, protein is the most satiating macronutrient, meaning it will keep you fuller for longer. There's also a million other benefits we don't have time to get into right now. Increasing my protein intake was a massive unlock in my journey, and I see it be the same thing for the women that I work with.
Do you see similar things? Of course you agree, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is totally everything she's saying. I love, like, figuring all these high satiety foods out to cure your binge eating is brilliant. I have so many patients who have binge eating disorder, but they're really just volume eaters. They have to eat a massive quantity and get a massive stretch response from the stomach and upper small intestine to actually feel full and terminate a meal. And these volume eaters do great with the satiety per calorie approach. They just get something like the low-fat Greek yogurt, where you can eat that 2-pound vat of yogurt and it's 80 grams of protein and only 400 calories. But you're just so not hungry afterward. You get to eat a huge volume, like the protein ice cream, where you take the whey powder and the frozen berries and whip it way up and then just eat this massive bowl the size of your head. This is a really good strategy for late night binge eating behavior.
Jesus.
And so I love what she's saying.
That sounds bad and good at the same time.
Well, so like I'm not trying to say you should be binge eating, but honestly, humans are kind of wired that way. We are wired to eat a certain weight and volume of food and only then stop eating. And we are wired to overeat when we come across tasty hedonic foods. And why try to deny your biology and pathologize it and call it a disease and give people drugs for it? Like I prescribe drug. We prescribe lisdexamfetamine or Vyvanse for binge eating disorder in the US. And, I know all the diagnostic criteria of binge eating disorder. You basically eat more than most people would, to the point of feeling uncomfortable and feeling bad about yourself and guilty and having negative impact on your quality of life. But kind of that behavior is actually fairly normal biology for Homo sapiens. And the problem is the food. It's not I haven't eaten for a long time and now there's this really good food, I'm going to eat a whole bunch of it till I'm stuffed. That is actually evolutionarily appropriate. And when you do that with these high satiety calorie foods, it's not even a problem. It's not even a disease. It's when you do that with the low satiety per calorie foods and gain 1 trillion pounds and have diabetes. That's when it's a disease. And so I love I love this girl. She's preaching to the choir. This is amazing.
It's great. Let's hear the end of this clip.
If you're struggling with overeating, binge eating, or you just want to stop obsessing over calories and don't find it to be helpful, try maximizing the satiety in your meals and snacks and watch your food noise quiet down, your cravings lessen, and your overeating and binge episodes start to go away.
All right. That was that.
Yeah. That was good. I'm gonna go find that video and like it.
What was the worst in this batch, you think?
Oh, the core power, dude. With the saying there was lactose in core power. Okay,
I was just not right.
That was the word.
How about Saladino?
So I absolutely hate fear mongering when it comes to diet. It's like chemophobia and fear mongering and using some mechanistic garbage to demonize something when there's actually just tons of actual evidence that it's fine. Like cooked oatmeal. To demonize this as a scare tactic and then get people on a carnivore diet as a result. This is terrible. This is actually dangerously bad advice. It's making people orthorexic. And I really hate the fear mongering approach. I hate being like, oh, sucralose is going to give you insulin resistance. I mean, that's not helpful. This fear mongering approach is not helpful. I think at Hava, we're taking the exact opposite. We're highlighting the foods that you want to eat, that you should be eating, that you should go out of your way to eat, that are spectacular. And we're not harping on, oh my God, make sure you're not eating any linoleic acid because look at this mechanistic bull crap of like how it does something outside, in a petri dish. This is what linoleic acid does. So never eat it. Yeah, we're like in the real world with actual outcomes and actual human RCTs. And we're not fear mongering this stuff, mostly because it's not valid and it's not really evidence-based, and it's mostly mechanistic garbage. And so, yeah, the Saladino was bad. The lactose dude was bad. Some of it was spectacular. The last video was amazing.
Great. So, I guess we'll do it again. And this was fun. Thank you for joining. To the people listening, see you soon.